Hello and welcome. I'm Claire Casely, a wanderer between the realms, and this is Weird, Wonderful Wonders. In each episode, I walk with my guests and talk about a paranormal experience they've had or a story from folklore. Have you ever had that feeling of deja vu about a place that you've never visited before? Then you'll love this bonus recording for episode 8, where my guest Pat describes her experience of arriving in Colorado and feeling that she had a past life there as one of the First Nations people. I really recommend that you listen to the main episode, where you can hear my guest Pat and I discussing her sighting of an otherworldly being in the Rocky Mountains, USA. And we explore whether this could be one of the little people from Native American legends, which we call fairies over here in Europe. I'm currently recording episodes for season 2 out next year, and I'd love to hear from you about strange places and your paranormal stories about them. You can contact the show on email, weirdwonderfulwonders@gmail.com, Instagram at weird_wonderful_wonders, and Twitter at weirdwonders. When you join our growing tribe of wanderers on my Fairy Whisperer Patreon community, you can enjoy lots of extras. There's early access to bonus episodes which are released at the same time as the main episode. There are behind the scenes info, additional resources linked with the episodes. We have a private chat forum on Discord and occasional group Zoom as well. For this episode, there is a downloadable PDF about the Native American little people, and also my guest Pat has done a drawing of the being that she saw that you can just see on the Patreon community. For those of you that don't know, Patreon is a way of showing your support for artists and creators like me. It helps me to cover the podcast production costs and enables me to create even more content for you to enjoy. You can join us for as little as £3 a month, which is about the price of a cup of coffee in Starbucks. See the links in the notes for the show to sign up. Enjoy this episode, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
When I was in that place, I sort of felt like something was actually drawing me to this place, if you know what I mean. Like I felt like I didn't pick it by coincidence. You know, I sort of felt like it was one of the places I have to be in this life in. You know, I have to visit this in this life. I felt that I was there in my previous life. You know, I sort of felt it. Yeah. And which actually then made sense after I made one discovery.
Oh, tell me about that.
Because right before Breckenridge, there was a valley. Yeah, it was close to the highway that goes, you know, from Denver to Breckenridge, and there was a motel which sat in the heart of a valley. Yeah, right. So at the end, after we moved out of this wooden house in Breckenridge, we lived in that motel. And two things were interesting. One thing was that actually the motel was built by the people from my hometown, the Highlanders, who specialize in building in wood, right? They're wood artists. And the second thing that was interesting was that before the motel was built and before the white people settled in, it was a Apache or Sioux Sioux village.
That's why I was thinking about the history, what was there before, because the houses might not be that old, but So
and I felt like I was there before, honestly. When I looked around, when I looked at the mountains, when I smelled the place, it actually felt like it was a familiar place to me.
I got the chills when you said that. So it's
I felt like I was from there, and lots of good and lots of bad things happened. It felt like I had a life there, and something was drawing me back to that place. I have chills as well when I'm speaking this.
Yes, so fascinating that you have those links in this current life to your home country. And that you were drawn to that place. And I wonder if I suppose it's difficult to tell, but I wonder if you had any ancestors that, perhaps distant ancestors that went out there and actually worked out there.
It might be, or it was just because I believe in reincarnation. Maybe it wasn't an incarnation. Maybe it was one of my previous lives. That actually was taking place there, and I had this kind of a thinking, and I had this kind of a maybe how to say, like a kind of a notion that this land was taken away from us. Because some people whom I met in Breckenridge, the Americans, they were very much like money oriented, and they were very much like, this is ours. Because I talked with them about it, and they say, Indians, but what did they have? They actually benefited from us, So, and I felt like this is wrong. You took their land, and you should at least acknowledge that. Yes. So I felt like it was happening again. And sort of like reliving similar emotions.
So that brought up quite strong feelings for you.
It has. It has.
Do you know anything about the like the First Nation beliefs about that area, whether anybody else had any experiences like that, or did you keep it to yourself, or did you look into it at the time?
Well, I was always, since I was a kid, I was always interested in Northern American Indians, always. And I was, even when I was a kid, I was wearing a band on my hair, and I was sticking feathers in it. And some people called me Vina too, like this Indian from this film.
I don't know.
So I felt like I was an Indian. And whenever I watched some films, I was always siding with the Indians, of course,
Yes.
And their sort of ideas about life, about the higher power, the big spirit, right? It was always appealing to me. Their understanding of harmony, their lack of like this white man kind of greed for gold, for money, for possession, contrasted by their beliefs that nobody should sell the land on which the men's feet walk. All of this was contrasted with those things that I don't like about human race, and so I was always very much into that, and yet I always felt suffering of these peoples, what the white man did to them, putting them in restricted areas, and when the Indians trusted the white man, like for example Sitting Bull, and then he was killed, and the battles of the Crazy Horse with the General Custer, I think, as far as I remember, and how the Indians won, and the Little Bighorn battle, and then when the actually Indian graves in the Black Hills in North Dakota, as far as I remember, were just devastated for gold. So for me, the India culture was like more spiritual and high up in terms of spiritual development to the white man, and the contrast, how it all clashed. It's for me a story about the humanity of the fight of the good and evil. So I sort of feel that that their ghosts are still walking that land. You know, they are there in those sacred places for Indians, like the Black Hills. You know, so they are there. You know, and also, you know, how the white men, because they were very proud and they were warrior nations, and the white men knew what to do. They gave them alcohol, so the fire water, as they called, as they you know called it. So it's a massive. It's actually a story of homicide. Yeah. Like an extinction of the whole nation. Genocide. Sorry, genocide. And very much like covered in American history, you know. And so it is felt there. I can feel it. You know, when I was there, I felt it for sure.
Yeah. So you were going with this very similar vibration to that area, really, weren't you?
Yeah, so, and me being damaged in body, and I'm going through some difficult situations. I think that I kind of, because I very much connect with the energy of the place. And of course, I've never lost my feeling of freedom, love, you know, fascination. I've never lost it, but it always felt like I had to defend it. You know, it's almost like the energy, maybe the good energy that is inside of me, is attracting this other energy that wants to take it away, if you know what I mean.
I can see that.
And I think that those good creatures, those fairies, and they are attracted to this good energy, and yet they are very scared of our destructiveness as well.
Yes, I feel that's very true as well. And so they were curious about you, and maybe it's that, I don't know. Oh, she's one of us.
Exactly. Yeah.
She's like, oh.
Yeah.
Somebody's.
This person came back. You know, it's. I believe in it. I mean, you know, my belief is like evolving. Like the older I get, the more I think about it. You know, and I definitely can say that we live in lots of different dimensions. We are experiencing life in different forms, but certain strong emotions, they stay with us. Like, for example, we've never experienced something, but we know how it feels. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
You know.
It is, and thinking about all the other world of fairy experiences I've had have always been at a time of change, and perhaps I didn't really know consciously what that change was going to be before it happened. But yeah, looking back, you can look back and think, oh yeah, that happened and that happened. I'm interested in, you know, you had that dreadful accident, and then how did that shift your life? Did you feel there was anything good that came out of it, or not, or, you know, how did it change your life going forward?
I think that it changed a lot, because I started thinking about how can I be more, how to put it, less scared. You know, how can I be less anxious and more grounded? You know, like how can I achieve this inner peace? Because all my life I've been actually really anxious, and I've been struggling with depression for a long time, which goes back to childhood and all of it. So I think it made me sort of, it put me on a path of self-discovery and working on this feeling that I can be okay, and I can be tranquil, and I can be strong, irrespective of the circumstances. That there is this always a healthy spiritual part of every one of us that is beautiful, that is happy, and that is love. And we have to always remember about it. We carry it no matter what is happening around us. And I think that this event and being in touch with those grandiose, beautiful things, good things, always reminded me of it, because I felt this amazing connection in many different places in America and in the UK as well, like Dartmoor. It almost like reminds you of who you truly are. You know, like for example, I was in the Arches National Park in Utah, and there's this beautiful, delicate arch, and those structures and the caves which are painted with Indian drawings, and you are there, and you feel this amazing connection to the land and to something spiritual, that it takes a tiny little second of connecting with it, and all the worry of the world is gone.
I can relate that to going through lockdown and not being able to get to the places that, you know, visually or whatever, feed my senses. And I had to internalise it, realise that I'd internalised it and I could carry it, like you're saying. But once you've experienced something, or once you've looked at something like that, you carry it in your heart, don't you? So you do, it's part of you all the time. I think that's really lovely.
You know, lockdown, this whole pandemic, I think it had a very metaphorical meaning to it, because it actually closed our mouths and our noses with the masks. Yes. Right? And separated us by distance. Yeah, and I talked with a person who is a numerologist, and also she's a kind of she's a person who sees future. She's a Polish lady, and she said that bizarrely, you know, I mean, it's how it links, that people feel each other's energy and can sort of communicate with their auras within 2 meters. Yes. So the lockdown, actually, and all of those rules took us even further apart from each other. And when you think about it, you think about, okay, so what actually was it? What was the purpose of it? You know, and because people from the beginning, right, they were gathered together, whether it was tents or caves, or they were meditating together. And suddenly this horrible virus that separates us, it puts us back into our little caves on our own. And look how many people suffered from mental health issues, you know, since then. And so it's always it almost feels like it's always a struggle between the bad and the good, but of course that the good is stronger. There's no doubt about it. There is. And I think it's that realisation that, because I mean, I don't watch the news at all. I have to be... Good for you. I cut myself off from all of that, not to be dispassionate or whatever, because I am interested, obviously, but just for my own self. Because it spins this idea that the bad outweighs the good in the world. It's always bad news, isn't it? And really, it's not like that. The good, like you say, the good is the greater power, if you want to put it in the light and dark sort of course, frame of reference that we have. We are powerful beings, and we have the power to shift things. So, we have the power to shift things, and there's no other way. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, if you want to progress emotionally, if you want to progress spiritually, you'll have to go down this path or up this path. You know, you have to go through all of those things in your life. Otherwise, you'll be always stuck in the place where you are. And you know, if looking back in history, all the big empires, all the big so-called civilizations based on gathering wealth perished. Like you had Incas, Mayas. You know, what happened to them was horrible, but they were based on gathering gold, gathering riches, making human sacrifices, considering themselves better than other nations, having slaves, you know, and perished. Roman Empire, in the days when it was the empire, who would have thought that it will ever perish? It perished. Nazis perished. Stalinism perished. Everything that is not rooted in the core of things, everything that is not aiming at the spiritual development, everything that is not based on love perishes.
Yes.
So we have an answer. If I think that we have this amazing ability to develop spiritually.
Yes.
And we might go in circles. Like we might go in circles for generations and generations and generations as individuals and as societies. But there's no other way out.
No.
If we want to be happy, if we want to be fulfilled, if we want to be serene and really in peace with ourselves, we have to discover this thing. We have to discover that it's not money, it's not power, it's not riches, it's not greed. It's love. Because otherwise we'll stay where we are.
Yes.
We will kill each other. We will wage wars. We will steal. We will have greed for more land, and more land. This is not taking us anywhere.
No.
Literally.
And that's happening all over. Well, everywhere, isn't it? But all over England, rest of the UK, here. Locally, where I live, the lands, the green lands.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere, and it's very sort of it's this kind of an energy that has no how to say it, no future. So there is hope because there is no other way around. If you know what I mean. If we want to progress, if you want to see things, if you want to understand, if you want to know why we are here, we need to go down this path. The path of sort of, I don't want to use big words, but in a way, enlightenment.
Yes.
Right? Because otherwise we will just go back to where we were.
Yeah. We will. Like you say, it's not, our whole reason for being on this planet isn't to build piles of gold. But this planet is it's like a weird place to be, because still to have peace we have to produce weapons, if you know what I mean. So it's still somewhere there on the ladder of progress, and I have this feeling that there are some other civilizations that went through that thousand years ago, and they're looking at us and they're thinking, oh my god. I believe that too. Totally believe that. I think we're just very much a warring species. We can look back 500 years and think, oh, wasn't that terrible? They were doing this and doing that to each other. Well, we haven't changed really that much. We might think we have, but we haven't. We've got a long way to go.
I think a long way to go.
Yeah.
I think we have a long way to go, and I don't know if we'll ever make it there. But if we don't, we'll always be miserable. There'll always be wars, suffering, casualties, horrible things happening. If we don't change our perspective, we'll be always hurting each other.
Yes.
And this will never stop. But I have hope, because there are beautiful people all around. There's always hope. There's always somebody who does good things.
Yeah.
So let's be hopeful.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for talking to me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm thankful for your time and that you wanted to listen to my stories. I hope that it makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, it's fabulous. Thank you.